Hello, thank you for tuning in. My name is Larry Duncan Allen, and this is No More Water. Fine. Next time. We got a very interesting subject today, as many of you may already know. Eight Democrats voted, eight Democratic senators voted with Republicans to reopening the government without getting a thing in return. They actually threw the party under the bus. But it was to be expected when you look at the ones who did it. Fetterman, Dick Durbin. I got more to tell you about Dick Durbin later. He stiffed the city of East St. Louis. But look, Democrats got absolutely nothing out of that. You say, well, Mayor, we need the government open. People need their SNAP benefits. Look, don't you know that Republicans don't want to eliminate SNAP? That's what they want to do. And see, do you remember when Trump was running, he told the MAGA people, you're going to have some short-term hurts, it's going to hurt short term, but you're going to gain in the long run. Well, the Republicans, they were ready for it. If the Democrats think that the people have to suffer a little bit, which I wouldn't want them to do also, they cave. When you could have came up with alternative sources, may not depend, like in Illinois, Governor Pritzker, he's funding most of the food pantries, putting extra funds into food pantries. You have to sometimes stand for the fight. Because one thing about a person, when a person is running, trying to be a dictator and run an authoritarian government, what they do is they get everything in line with them to make other people feel like as though it's futile to resist them. It's futile to not go along with them. And that's what Trump did to these senators. He made them feel as though it was futile not to go along with the Republicans. And they fell for it. They fell for it. I got a few videos I'm gonna play. I want you to see these. See this video of. I want you to check this out. Let me see. Where am I at? Yeah, there's a few videos of people that who had something to say about this. Listen to this.
Look, don't let them spin you. The Democrats caved. People have been asking me, what Democrats caved? I want to know. We need to know. Okay, so these are the Democrats who voted to cave to the Republicans. 8 Democratic senators are Dick Durbin, Maggie Hassan, Angus King, Catherine Cortez Masto, Tim Kaine, Gene Johnson, and John Fetterman. They joined the 52 Republicans in this procedural vote to reopen the government without a guaranteed extension of healthcare subsidies. Just a promise to pick it up and maybe vote on it in December. Come on now.
You see, one thing about the healthcare, many people saying, well, they're not gonna, in the big ugly bill, they're gonna eliminate healthcare anyway. But they're talking about keeping that low while they can. I mean, the Democrats just got nothing out of this deal with a promise. You actually trust the Republicans with a promise? But look, see what the Republicans are trying to say is that the Democrats want to fund immigrants and illegals with health care, which is not true because it's illegal. Immigrants cannot get on government health care. They can't. It's illegal. But the I can't even say Republican, but the MAGAs know that if they feed it to their people, they're going to believe it. They believe anything Trump says. He's like their prophet, their Messiah. They believe anything he says is like a cult. He stands there and lies, say he's stopped 8 wars. Well, he haven't stopped one. He haven't stopped the one he promised to stop in 24 hours. So how he stopped so many other wars. But look, the see when he said about immigrants receiving health care, emergency care, yes. You can go to another country right now. If you get sick and go to emergency room, they're gonna treat you. It's called being humane, which is something Trump know nothing about. All people who comes into an emergency room gets treated. But it's just that people are tired of these weak Democrats who do not have a backbone. They will not stand up. They will not stand up. When you think they're doing okay, they had a few victories here in this election. They were sort of on a roll, and these others turned around and just knocked the sail right out of that. So anytime we think they got something going, something happens, and I just don't get it. And this Fetterman, he may as well he may as well ran as a Democrat because he's been voting along the Democratic line. Many people are talking about forming another party because the Democrats are so weak. They're trying to play fair with some people who don't know anything about fairness. When you're dealing with some crooked people, you have to stop just waiting to see what they're going to do and then you respond. Sometimes you have to go on their offense. There is no more Constitution. The Republicans are not going by the Constitution. The Constitution to them is whatever come out of Trump's mouth. And I don't really believe Trump is the one running this. He doesn't have the mental cognitive to do the things that he's doing. It's Stephen Miller and what's that speaker name, MAGA Mike Johnson and J.D. Vance, or maybe even Elon Musk. The Donald Trump doesn't have the cognitive skills. He can even stick to a subject. Whatever you ask him, he come with those same talking points about past presidents and all the things he did, and it's all lies. It's like somebody told Mr. President, you stopped 8 wars, and got him to believe that. It's as though he really believes he's delusional. He believes his own lies. I believe people feeding it to him because of his mental decline, and they're taking advantage of it. I'm saying I believe that. I don't know. Because when anytime I'm saying something that's not factual, I try to let you know that's just my thoughts and it's not a fact. But he does have mental decline, and I just can't see how he can even. Most of the things he's talking about, he doesn't even know anything about. Now they're poised to go to war against Venezuela, got an aircraft carrier right off the coast, and Nigeria. It's awful strange. They say that I know I'm gonna get a bit off subject here, but I'm gonna mention this. They say that that they're torturing Christians in Nigeria, but this is not the government doing it. These are a group doing that, and they're also doing it to Muslims, not just Christians, but in Israel, Christians has been Christians has been harmed in Israel since the nation's been there. No one's doing anything about that. There's one being harmed in every nation, including this one. What would it look like if someone said, "Well, they're harming people over in the United States with ICE. We better we better invade them." The United States, haven't they been doing this long enough? Instead of rebuilding the infrastructure, fighting wars all around the world. Have you been to China and seen their buildings and their skyline? And many of these other nations, even some of the Arab nations and the African nations. Look at downtown Accra, Ghana. It makes Detroit look sick. All the modern buildings, well lit up, and just look alive. Look at our city skyline. These old buildings look so dull because they spent all the money fighting wars trying to force democracy down people's throat. Now we don't even have democracy anymore ourselves. It's all a waste of time. And Trump's going to find it's very hard fighting a war, putting boots on the ground. Why do you think Israel's doing all this shooting off bombs? Hamas kicked their butts on the ground the last time they fought them because they were used to Hamas and Arabs who couldn't fight. Hamas got trained and they ran Israel out of Lebanon the last time they came on the ground and tried to fight Hamas. That's why they lobbing bombs out through the air. Did you see Russia? They put boots on the ground in Ukraine and look what happened. Got their butts whooped all over Ukraine on the ground. And now Ukraine is taking the fight to Moscow. But look, but getting back to my subject about the Democrats, I'm tired of the people getting tired of the Democrats. We think we see a glimmer of a fight in them. The next thing you know, one of theirs go and throw them under the bus. The Republicans are united. They stick together. No one's throwing anyone under the bus. But the Democrats won't stick together. At least the House of Representatives does, but the Senate doesn't. It was 8 senators, including Dick Durbin. And people in East St. Louis know about Dick Durbin. He's the reason part of East St. Louis downtown is the way it does. See, East St. Louis had a lot of clubs downtown. East St. Louis was fastly becoming a party city. Every city has its thing, And they was employing hundreds of people down there. Well, there was a few unalivings down there. Which was really nothing new. But the thing about it, Dick Durbin went to a person who was running for mayor and backed him and said, if she becomes mayor, she has to not issue the club's license and close them down. And they lost between 400 and 500 jobs. And the East St. Louis downtown is like a ghost town now. And he said he would stop funding to the city if it didn't happen. So he pulled a strong arm tactic. So I know him well, Dick Durbin. He'll go picture. That's a picture of him and I together. That's when he was doing some good things. Now, I don't know. I don't even think I want that picture to be seen much. But see, what happens is, so there was some unalivings. It happens in all condensed city where people, see, in all metropolitan areas, things are condensed. So you're going to see, it's going to seem like there's a lot of unalivings where other people more spread out. They can have many more, but it doesn't seem like it because they're spread out. When you condense, because black people live, more, like I said, in large metropolitan areas. We don't live all over the state like the other people do. So it seems like we're unaliving more people because of how we're condensed together, compact together. But downtown St. Louis, see, other people, they know how to deal with this. They're not going to ruin their local economy over some thugs who going to kill, who going to unalive each other anyway. Downtown St. Louis had the same problem. But did you see them close anything down? They're not going to ruin their local economy over these thugs. And you know what happened? Over on the east side, people in this area, I know them all over, but the people, this is my town, and people here know what I'm talking about. Most of those unalivings and the problems was being done on service station lots that Arabs owned. But none of them got closed down. Well, it's spilling over from the club, but it was happening on their lots. None of them got closed down. And you know what happened? While they didn't even close, while the investigation was going on, most of the time a business, they close up until the investigation is over. Sometimes for days. None of those Arabs' business closed. And you cost about between $400 and $500 jobs. Now the downtown is a ghost town, all because of Dick Durbin. I think he graduated from either Assumption or from East St. Louis Senior High School, one of the two. But I believe it was East Side. I'm not sure. It was one of the two, Assumption or East Side. He came up right there, right off 76 in Mirabelle, and he's retiring. He can't retire fast enough for me because he really him and this Fetterman he should have ran as a Republican. That was 8 of them, and they really did a number on us. As soon as we gained a victory, they turned around and snatched the defeat right up and turned it into a defeat. I'm gonna play another one for you. Listen to this.
This is exactly what I'm talking about, man. I went to Dick Durbin's Facebook page to leave a comment about him caving, right? Because he doesn't give a shit. He's not running for re-election, and it's ever apparent. These they're faux Democrats. They're total Republicans. Look at this. His last post was April 3rd. April, May, June, July, August, September, October, November. Nearly 8 months of total inactivity. Man, if this guy isn't on the fucking Epstein list, you know what I mean? They just do what they're told, like Fetterman. I bet you they've got Fetterman with the same P tapes that they got on Trump. You know what I mean? Like, these people are worthless. How do we possibly vote Democratic? Leave a comment here. What are we doing? How are we going to vote for the left when this is what we have to vote for? I know he's not running for re-election, but come on. Who are we voting for?
How do we vote Democratic? What else do we have? There's two parties. If you vote Republican, look at it. Some people say there's no difference between the two. There is a difference. I know they all, lobby groups and different other groups, APAC and all. Not the Democrats are with APAC, but there is a difference. And between the two, I'd rather vote Democratic than Republicans because one party is fighting to take your SNAP benefits away. The other one is fighting so you can keep it. One is fighting for health care. One is fighting against it. Most of the benefits black people have gained since after Jim Crow has been through the Democrats, not the Republicans. Every Democratic president has had to come in and repair the economy that the Republicans destroyed. And then they'll come in and ride. They'll say they got a good economy because they're riding under the new economy that the Democratic president has built up, and then they ruin it again. Just look at what's been happening after Ronald Reagan and George H.W. Bush. Bill Clinton came in, had to repair the economy. Let me change this. He even had for the first time in a long time, had a surplus, not a deficit, not a $37 trillion debt like we have now. Okay, after Bill Clinton left office, George H. Bush became president, destroyed the economy. After 8 years of him, Barack Obama had to come in and just about rebuild the economy. Matter of fact, Bush was going to let General Motors go under. But see, after Obama had won the presidency, well, at least Obama was running. No, he had won, and he had told his people they're coming into briefings, but they don't say, they don't say much. They just sit there and listen. Obama's people, because Obama was going to be coming in. So what happened? Obama wanted to save General Motors. Bush didn't. So Bush told Obama, well, he's going to go ahead and fund them for him until he get into office. And that's how General Motors was saved. Ford didn't need any help. General Motors was going under. And Bush was going to let them go under. So you said there's no difference between the two. You said, well, that was General Motors. Now, how many black people vote for, I'm sorry, how many black people work at General Motors? Black people tied into this also. When you get done, we live in this economy, we live in this nation. And see, what happens is, so you said there's no difference in between the parties, but you're finding out. Did you know they voted to have taken away all of our rights? We're really almost under Jim Crow again. It's just that what happened is we're in a different era where many white people are not responding because this is affecting them more than us. The minute that Trump was going to destroy us, he's destroying more white people than he is black people. I know there's been a lot of black people fired off a government job, but mostly black women because more black women had government jobs because they were seen as a double minority. Black and female. Like very few black men got government jobs, maybe the post office or something, and a mailman or something. Because but most black men have jobs in in the private or public sector. Not to go. See, one thing people don't realize about DEI and affirmative action, it only affects government jobs or jobs with government contracts. It doesn't affect all jobs. Most of the jobs black men got, affirmative action and DEI don't affect it. Matter of fact, DEI was created for white women to get them in the marketplace, in higher up in corporate, not for black people. So they hurt white women, not black people. Now over 300,000 black women says now like 400,000 lost their jobs, and I hope this year can get over so they can get their jobs back, and they need to be given back pay. And they need to be given back pay, and actually, they need to maybe file a suit because they was fired because of their race. But under this government, the suit may not go nowhere because he controls the courts. Yeah, so I hope something can happen where they can get their jobs back. Yeah, but I have another one I'm going to play. I have a lot of videos tonight because many people are going on about this. Listen to this.
Hi, this message goes out directly to these 8 Democrats who voted last night as Republicans. Yes, I say that again. You voted as a Republican. You did not vote to represent the people that put you into office. The Democrats spoke very loud and clear when they had the election on last Tuesday on what they wanted you to do. They wanted you to stand strong, to represent them, to show the Republicans that we are not weak and that we're not spineless, that when we say something, that we mean it, and we want affordable health care. So by you voting as a Republican and giving in to them, you might as well have put on that red hat and voted and changed from a Democrat to a Republican. Now, you have one more chance to go in today, on Monday, and do one more vote. And I'm asking you, as a Democrat, to please represent your party and your constituents. Take that MAGA hat back off and go in there and stand strong and show us what the Democrats are made of. We are not spineless. We are not weak. And don't think that just because they're giving you a promise, they've promised you on numerous occasions that they will vote on the affordable health care, and they haven't done it yet. So why would you believe them? Let's stay strong. Let's show them what we're made of and show them that we are not weak, that we are going to stand together, and that we are going to fight them, and that we will get affordable health care for everyone. Please, I'm asking you, do not become modern day Benedict Arnolds. You were there to represent us as Democrats, and that's all we're asking you to do. And if you are a constituent of one of these people that represent you, flood their phones, message them, do anything that you can to let them know exactly how you feel, that the Affordable Care Act is important to you, that they cannot live on a promise, that they have to stand strong, and they have to vote no on Monday. It's coming up at around 11 o'clock on Monday, and it will be coming up for a final vote, and we have to let them know, vote no. We do not want them to be weak and spineless, and we want them to represent us and to stay strong.
Well, that vote came up today. I haven't seen exactly what happened. I didn't get a chance to look it up to see how it went, but from what I'm hearing, I think it went. I'm not hearing anything different according to I don't have time to really look it up right now. I'm not hearing any different from what happened the other day. It was yesterday, but there's a final vote that was done at 11 this morning. And I tell you, I don't like what happened, but I'm glad the people are going to be able to get their SNAP benefits, but they were going to get that anyway. Some had already gotten theirs. Now the whole thing had to be loaded up by today. And let me say this one thing though. You see these videos they have of people running in the stores stealing. Most of that stuff is fake. And how they say people was running all up in Walmart. Most of that stuff is fake. You know why? They put that stuff out there so you can do it. They just want black people to do some type of mob action. But you know who have went up in stores stealing? White people. There's videos of them, some real videos of them doing it. But most of those are AI videos of black people, and many have admitted that they were AI videos. Many of the stuff you see of black people doing, many of these fights you see, many of them are AI, not even created in this country or created by white trolls. They just don't know how to keep their minds off of us. We don't troll them like that. We don't have them on our minds 24/7. We live rent-free in their heads. And you know what? And it's the ones who do all that. You see how when you put up a post on social media, how they're like it's something a black person misbehaving, how they're just all over it. Because many of them are the ones who actually put it up, pretending to be black. Because you know when you put up all the good stuff about black people on social media, they're nowhere to be seen. Coming with the same old type of comments they've been using for 400 years. Same old type of stuff, nothing new. They're so worried about us until they can't see that they're being destroyed. Trump is destroying them. The farmers, and some of them lost their land and still talking about this, saying they still vote for Trump. The black farmers are doing just fine. Doing just fine. Because they sell mostly to the local markets because they couldn't get those government subsidies that the white farmers was getting. Many of them became millionaires off of those subsidies. It's nothing but welfare. That's what it is. Because see what happens is that's hardly a industry that white people have in this nation that doesn't get some type of government subsidies, which is government welfare. But they always talk about black people begging welfare. Now they even coming out there more white people on welfare and getting the benefits. And they don't. And remember when they used to talk about the black welfare queens, which is one black woman they found had abused food stamps, and they just started trying to put it on all of them. That was Ronald Reagan started that. And but the white welfare queens I showed you the other night, they're real. They're very real. One woman angry because they want to cut hers because she bought a 2005 BMW. She can afford a $2,000 BMW, and she's doing getting $4,100 a month in food stamps. And when they get them, I know I'm gonna get back to my subject, but this is what I'm thinking about. When they get them, they get a lot of money. Black people don't get the kind of money that they get. Then there was this other white woman I showed you the other night, the video the other night. She's crying because they want her to start working 20 hours a week. She's getting $10,000 a month in government benefits, food stamps, housing, all of it comes to 10. That's six figures. But she haven't had to work in 13. She's been getting it for 13 years and haven't had to work. Well, who would have to work if you're making six figures off the government and doing better than most people with a six-figure salary because she doesn't have to pay for housing. She do is very little. If she's getting Section 8, getting cash, food stamps, health care. What black person you know get that? And not only do they got welfare kings. You got black white men. One white man talking about how his family, they want him to go to work. He can't go to work. He wants to stay home and enjoy his kids. So they cut his food stamps from $4,100 down to $250. What black people you know getting them kind of food stamps? See, welfare wasn't created for black people because if it was, we wouldn't have it. Nothing in this nation that benefit people was created for black people. When welfare was created, it was during the Great Depression. Black people didn't know anything about it until around the 50s or 60s. But when black people started getting into the man couldn't be in the house. When white people get into the man could be in the house. But what happened was the reason black people couldn't get it, you had to be able to have pension. And matter of fact, black people couldn't get Social Security either. You had to be able to pay into the system. Most black people had domestic jobs and farm jobs. They weren't paying taxes into the system. And same with Social Security. Black people couldn't get Social Security. They couldn't get it. It wasn't until after Jim. We was riding under Jim Crow until about 64. So we haven't really had a real taste of freedom, or at least what you can call freedom. Only been like 60, 61 years. And every time we started prospering economically, they burnt it down, stole it, unalived the black folks. So those lynchings, those weren't because of a crime. That was because those business people who dared to challenge white folks economically. There was a black town, I think it was Olney, Oklahoma. They always talk about Black Wall Street. But in this town, black people had their own railroad. They were prospering fine. The military, they took this off the record. You have to look hard to find it. The United States military bombed the black areas from the air. They cheated and hurt us every step of the way. And then when you have to get on welfare, you lazy. When every time our hard work, we worked hard and it paid off, you ruined it. And then in this, but look how many poor white people it is. See, when you're in a nation where 1% own most of the wealth, then another 30% on the rest of it, and the bottom percentage only own like 2.5% of the wealth. You're gonna have some poor people. If we got a pie here, we was cutting it up, and one person got 90% of that pie, another person got most of the rest of it. There's gonna be some people without pie. That's common sense. Anytime one person got just about all of everything, someone's gonna have nothing to make up for that person to have a lot. And then they're never satisfied. So getting back to my subject on the Democrats. See, the Democrats, they they just don't have the backbone for this. They don't. They're trying to be fair, honest, and good against some people who don't know what that means. See, and I tell you why. When you're dealing with the people who their morality and the way they treat people has to be legislated. You have to sign a Bill of Rights for them to treat somebody right, and still didn't. You have to get all type of legislation just for them to be fair, and still wasn't. You're dealing with some diabolical people. Their morality has to be legislated. As soon as they think the legislation gone, they fall back into their old habits. Really, they never really stopped. If they got a man in office, they think like them, they can start trying to go back to the old ways. There's gonna be some heads get cracked. If that's what you think you're gonna do, stand up in black folks' face and mess with us. Now we're not gonna let you mess with us. And you talk that stuff on social media or with your buddies or with your people. Don't jump up in our face with that stuff. You know better than that. Yeah, so we got a long, hard way coming. It's gonna be a little hard for us, but that's the way it's always been for us. Now, of all the things they've done to black people, taking our rights away and all that, do you hear any Latinos and people of color even talking about that? But then they come talking about help them. We helped you. No, you didn't. Stop lying. We helped ourselves. All through the civil rights movement, that was us. We suffered through Jim Crow. Nobody protested that. No, no, we shouldn't be doing it to these people. And you enjoyed it. People of color did too. I mean, during see, many people started protesting during when Black Lives Matters came. But see, black people actually stopped protesting after Ferguson. They protested for 4 months every night, and that's what started the night protest. You used to protest in the day. Like I said, the protesters work. That's why. But you get the same results. Because most of the Black Lives Matter protests, I live streamed some of them. You could barely find a black person. It's mostly white people. We appreciate what they did, but we just saw that those 1960 civil rights era tactics wasn't working anymore. How can it work? Like I told you this before, I don't protest because I don't believe in peaceful protest, and I didn't want to mess up their protest. You can't hurt me and mine. But then we get ready to respond. Oh, you got to be peaceful. You wasn't peaceful. You're not going to commit violence on me. Then I'm going to come to you with peace. And I'm going to commit some on you. Put a little ouching and hurting on you. Then we can both sit there hurting at an equal level when we negotiate. Not me hurting and messed up. And uh, you in Christine condition and I'm all messed up. Now it's time to negotiate. Not gonna hurt you some. Did you see how I feel? Then we're starting talking about negotiating. But if you know it's peaceful protesters, I know I'm getting off subject, but it's just me. I got to kind of fill in the blanks. We, when it comes to peaceful protest, that's only coined for black people. White people aren't peaceful protest. When they took over Black Lives Matter, you notice how there was a little more. There was people got killed. They ran to the police station in Minneapolis, burned it, ran the police out and burnt it down. It was white folk. They said it was Black Lives Matter, but it was white folk. But they coined every march as Black Lives Matter, though. Black people couldn't have done that. They got shot down before they even made it inside. You see the people who were unalived by Kyle Rittenhouse. Those were two white men. And so but we appreciate people who help, but the truth is we didn't beg anybody to help. We didn't ask anyone to help. They just came. So Latinos and people of color, anyone else, if black people wanted to be out there, we'd be out there. We don't need you telling us what to do. We do what we want to do. We didn't ask you to come, and you didn't come. You wouldn't have came if we asked you anyway. People of color is not black people's allies. You've been our enemies also. I know I lived around you out in Los Angeles. You've been our enemies also. You mistreat the people in your nation. See, why don't Trump worry about how the black people are treated in Brazil? How the black people are treated in China? Is he going to send a military task group there? Then you're going to jump on little nations you know can't fight back. That's what you've been doing since World War II. But look, we got I got one more video I want to play about the someone who's talking about the Democrats.
This is a message for Senator Dick Durbin of Illinois. I'm one of your constituents, and I'm asking you, why have you said that you're going to vote no? Why are you conceding with the Republicans? You have been a Democratic senator of Illinois for your entire career, and you're choosing now, before you are going to retire, to go to the other side. What the fuck is the point of your career then? What is the point of having you continually reelected into the Senate for you at the 9th hour when we need you most to stand up for what your constituents want, which is affordable health care, for SNAP benefits to be turned back on? Why are you going over there now? Your entire career is a fucking waste of time. You've done nothing. If you vote for this, you've done nothing. Nothing. This is when you've been needed. The Affordable Care Act was set up by a Democrat from Illinois, and you are going to vote against it. The fucking audacity you must have to think that you can get away with that, to think that you will ever go down in history as being a good senator if you do this. You will never go down in history as a good senator if you do not get a deal, concessions, the SNAP benefits back on, a new way forward for the Affordable Care Act for Americans. We are hurting. And you have the audacity to become weak right now. Imagine being one of us. And I'm not even the one who needs to be worrying the most. And you still can sit there in your tower, think that everything is going to be fine. You will never be welcome back in fucking Illinois if you vote for this. Ever. So make up your mind. Do not vote to remove Affordable Care Act. Don't do it. It's not worth it. The government shutdown would not be worth it with no concession. We are waiting here. No one wants to be in a government shutdown anymore. No one. But you are getting paid. You are still getting paid when so many other government workers are not. And the least you can fucking do is do something for them. I'm serious. You're not welcome in Illinois if you vote to remove Affordable Care Act.
You know what? I live in Durbin's district, and I haven't been very pleased with him myself. I showed you earlier. This is a picture of him and I together. I have several pictures with him, but I don't know if I even want to show that anymore. He grew up about a few blocks from here. Went to the local schools here. And he turned around and does something like this. He graduated either from Assumption or East St. Louis Senior High School. I'm thinking it's East St. Louis Senior High School. Yeah, he's a disappointment. He can't retire fast enough for me. Maybe that's why he's doing this, because he's retiring. See, what you have to realize, as I said earlier, a person like Trump, who's trying to start an authoritarian government, I hope I'm saying an authoritarian government, they try to consolidate power. They try to get all the departments, everything on their side, to make people feel as though it's futile to resist them. And it seems to be working with Trump. People like that, you have to resist. He's trying to squash all resistance. And you see the people who have stood and fought against him, they won. Because he caves when he see people are not going to bow down to him. And I don't, you know what? Do you actually believe it's Trump running all of this? He don't have the cognitive skills. He has mental decline. He doesn't really know about any of this stuff. Listen to him talk. Anytime he starts talking, he gonna start talking about Biden, Obama, and all the past. I inherited a mess. No, Biden inherited a mess. He inherited the best economy in the world at that time, and he ruined it. We don't have most of the trading partners are going to China. Most of Africa is leaving the United States alone. Except that old Big guy down in South Africa. He's a waste as a president. Came over here big. Then let Trump clown him in the Oval Office, talking about they killing white people. Showed him some crosses in a grave, and those graves was from the Congo. People who were from a refugee in Congo, in the Congo. Yet the South African president said nothing. What's the point in coming to the Oval Office? If you do, be ready for a fight. Then talk back to him. Let him talk to you and your president just like he is. They just sit there with a smile on their face. I always say that, I met many presidents because of the line of work I do. Talk with them, shake their hands. I would never shake Trump's hands. If he walked into my office right now, I'd tell him, I don't have time. Because this is one man I hate. I hate Trump because of what he's done. And all they talking about pray for him, he's the president. I'm not praying for him. If I did pray, he ain't gonna like what I pray. I'm just not on that level. I'm gonna pray for your leaders. I'm not praying for Trump. I'm just gonna tell you, I'm not praying for him. If you think I'm right or wrong, I just have to be wrong on this. If I do pray for him, it's not gonna be what you think it's gonna be. It's not gonna be for his well-being. So those who want to pray for him, but I'm not. I don't see why you want to. I don't care what anybody say. I'm not gonna pray for the well-being of somebody who's trying to destroy me. I don't rejoice when my enemies succeed. When people have an enemy, I hate to see when their enemy fail. Yeah, I wish them well. I don't wish my enemies well. I don't wish them well at all. I don't wish them nothing. I just don't care what happened to them. I'm talking about an enemy like Trump. I'm not talking about somebody you just don't like or did some little small thing to you. But when you got an enemy like Trump, he's an enemy of the state. I don't wish him well. I'm not going to pray blessings on him. If anything, it'd be curses. The hell with him. You see, they won't. People always do that to black people. People do everything they can to hurt us, and people tell us to pray for them. When they were slaves, I'm gonna pray for Massa, and a lot of them was silly enough to do it. Pray that them slaves should have prayed that Massa get struck down and slavery was over. You don't pray for somebody got you in slavery. Pray for their well-being. I know say pray for those over you. Yeah, pray for those over you who's doing what they're supposed to do. I'm not praying for Trump well-being. I'm not gonna do it. I don't care what anybody say. Yeah, and then the people who don't pray for him, some about they going to hell. I'm not going to hell. When anybody who do go to hell, when you get there, ask Charlie Kirk how's that neck. I don't have pity for people who are doing the type of thing Trump doing. They're enemy of our people. I don't pray for them. I don't see why you all would. Pray for their well-being so they can keep harming your people. You want your enemies defeated, not prospering. The more they prosper, the more they can harm you. I just can't go along with that. Pray for my enemies? No, not me. You can if you want to, but I'm not. Pray for Trump, not me. I'm not praying for him. My dear, nobody like what I pray. So I'm just not gonna do it at all. This man is an enemy of ours. He's an enemy of our people. Only thing about it, white folks don't realize he's an enemy of theirs also. See, white people constantly vote against their own interests. They've been doing it since this has been a nation. You know why? During the 1700s, the 1800s, white people were dirt poor, barely living, dying young. Half the time didn't have food, had to eat almost anything. Some of them even in this country living in caves and little tents and all. And when just Indians living in teepees, they were living in, white people weren't doing well. Most of them didn't have jobs. They were just living off the land. Yet they agreed to allow someone to bring slaves in and work for free when they didn't have jobs. The white elite has always worked against the lower white people's interests. You didn't have jobs yourself. Black people building the infrastructure. See, black people knew, white people didn't know agriculture. They brought slaves over here who did. That's why they got African slaves. They was good at agriculture. You had black people doing the building because they knew how to smelt iron that white people didn't know about. That's why white people started to stop living in those cabins and got into nice modern homes because of black people. Because of black people, those slaves. You could have been working building, but they got people doing it for free against your own interest. When you didn't have jobs, you didn't have food. The slaves had pig guts and pig feet. You didn't even have that. They didn't have to go hunt for it. Everything that has harmed black people has harmed poor white people, but they constantly vote against their interests. You know why? Because the power elite put a black face on it. Anything that they see that they think is helping black people, they're automatically against it. They don't want to see black people prosper. They've been talking about foods. They got to put a black face on food stamps. White people been talking about food stamps and welfare. Found out they're the welfare queens, and not just queens. They got welfare kings. Most of the fraud in food stamps is coming from white people. Just about all of it, really. Black people are scrutinized on these sort of things. White people aren't. One white man had 53 food stamp cards in his name. How do you do that? In his name. Not in different names, in his name. They're getting $4,000 or $5,000 a month in food stamps alone, not counting what else. I told you about the woman getting $10,000 and getting it for 13 years. That's not us. Black people can't get that kind of money out of them. These people are racking up off the government. They don't want the Affordable Care Act. I mean, they want the Affordable Care Act, and so they're voting against Obamacare. And they ask them, what's the difference between the Affordable Care Act and Obamacare? They just start thinking up stuff. You know why I know they're just thinking it up? Because Obamacare is the Affordable Care Act. See, when Obama didn't try to get a health plan, her health plan called Obamacare. It was called the Affordable Care Act. But what happened was, after it was passed, the Republicans called themselves putting a slur on it. And so calling it Obamacare. So that white people would be against it, and they were. You have white people with the Affordable Care Act voting against it because they coined it as Obamacare. They're voting against Obamacare, not knowing that they're voting against their own health care. And when they find out, they cry like a baby. It's just like a person saying, I like marijuana, but I hate weed. I love drinking alcohol, but I hate booze. People think that was crazy, wouldn't you? But it's such a simple thing. But see, I knew that one day racism and white supremacy was ideology. Because there is no white supremacy, it's just white supremacy ideology. I knew that this would destroy this country one day, and it's on the verge of doing it. It's on the verge of doing it. This country will no longer be a superpower like it used to be. The economy will never, I can't say never, it's going to take a while. Well, it won't, because most of our trading partners has went elsewhere. They've left the United States alone. So the reason the United States, the dollar was the world currency, and people trust the United States because the United States always had a stable government. We're seen as stable, but it's not stable anymore. You got other rising nations now: Canada, Mexico, Nigeria, Guinea Faso over there in Ghana. All those nations are rising up. But you know what? Let me get into Venezuela. You know why Venezuela and Nigeria is on Trump's list? Venezuela is just nationalized and so refining their own oil and not sending it out to be refined. That's why Trump want to go in there. Nigeria has just done the same thing. They stopped letting Europe refine their oil. They nationalized, and now they're refining their own oil. Is it a coincidence that Trump want to go into both those nations? No, it's not. It's never about humanitarian gestures. It always has to do with natural resources. Oil, gold, something. It's never about humanitarian, because if you're so concerned, they've been persecuting Christians in Israel since Israel has been a nation. People are being persecuted somewhere all over the world, but they pick and choose according to what they think they can get out of it. You're persecuting people in the United States right now. What if China and Russia say we got to go over there and stop ICE? United States need to mind its own business. Let Nigeria deal with their own issue. It's not the first time Nigeria had issues. You just see an opportunity right now. That's all. Hear those people. I hope Nigeria got something for them too. If they come running up in there. I'm not thinking about Venezuela there. I hope Nigeria got something for them. But I hope Venezuela do too. Just need to leave people alone. Rebuild our infrastructure and quit fighting wars all over the place. I tell you, we may have to start maybe like a socialist party. The guy that won up in New York, he's a socialist. He makes more sense. He makes, his policies seem sound. Only one thing I didn't like, he said something about, they said reaching out to some nation, but it's not for America to do. Like as though he was going to some type of diplomacy, say some type of policy, but that's not for America to do it. He'll learn to find out. Yeah, but we got a difficult time on our hands. Maybe I'm not sure, but it's just hard to keep following the Democrats. As soon as you think they've grown some balls and become ready to put up a fight, get thrown back, and then people get tired of a person like that. Well, I'm not gonna hold you long tonight. I'm ready to get out of here. But look, thanks for tuning in, though. And my name is Larry Duncan Allen. This is No More Water. Fire next time. Thanks a lot.